G'day and welcome back to the Pillars of Randomity. So last time round we ran straight for the clock basically because I wanted to get my specialization. There's a reason for that. If I look at my character right now, I now have natural charisma. No, that wasn't it. Well, I'm now an intelligent nano who brandishes a silver tongue, which basically means I get a boost to... Oh no, natural charisma is it. I can just expend more effort on persuasion checks, and that will become more powerful as we go up tiers. So that's kind of what I was aiming for. And now, well, we've got this whole city to kind of explore and do things in. So the question is, who do we talk to first? Let's go talk to this person who is floating in robes. A creature floats before you, hidden inside the bulk of its armor, cloth, robes, unmoving and unmoved by your presence. Exactly who or what the thing is, man or machine, mutant or monster, is impossible to discern. Its glass face reveals nothing but your reflection. Its mechanical voice reveals nothing at all. You recall this creature is known as a Philethus. You don't know anything else about them. Exquisite. The Philethus grates in greeting perhaps, or perhaps lost in its own inscrutable thoughts. The creature's thoughts are as obscure as its glass face, as though it weren't even there. You are exquisite as well. A sound like the grinding of drit-filled gears is the thing's only response. For a moment it stretches uncomfortably, you feel the cold scrutiny of the Philethus upon you. At last it speaks again. The sun cannot warm the vastness between worlds. The Philethus' implacable glass gaze bores through your skin and sees more than others do, and it seems to be seeking something from you. Let's try persuasion. Tell me about yourself. So, we've got one edge, which means we're basically spending one effort for free. That gives us a 55% chance. Wow, well, yeah, we got the... Let's go for it. 95% chance, excellent. The Avatrol whistles while it runs, a fearful sound, perhaps even for the Avatrol. Apparently this is what passes for effusiveness in the Philethus. Do you know, what do you want from me? When you faced Koro, why did you not step first with your left foot? Balance, probably. The Philethus accepts your answer in silence, then after a long pause replies, "In his vault the Cloven One reads from his great book to his disciples. He sleeps and awakens, and has forgotten his place in the grimoire. He begins anew. The book is part of him. He has no legs and takes no steps. It is his own self from which he reads. It is his own self that is incomplete. It is his own self that binds him in the vault of his own mind." Okay, sure. Let us go with, do you know anything about the sorrow, about the resonance chamber, etc.? Silence lingers long, until at last the Philethus speaks. I know it shall be 3. I know the first cannot be trusted. I know one changes as you change. I know they seek an undoing. Its glass face storms, but the Philethus says no more. What more do you want from me? When the Philethus at last answers, its mechanical voice seems to creak. You did not accept your fall. When you are served the bitter root, will you eat? No. The Philethus is silent, showing neither satisfaction nor dismay at your response. Please tell me about yourself in a way I can understand. No. Nice. You've been following me? In memory, cause follows effect. In rain, the colors run. A long rumble suggests that the Philethus has more to say, but nothing emerges. Why are you so interested in my choices? In its slow rumble, the Philethus replies, "They are not yours." You have any more questions for me? Its words so rushed they almost jumble together. Philethus asks, When you stood in the pace of shifting floors, which way did your shadow fall? Let's go with place of shifting floors. I'm gonna go with before me. A long rumble echoes from inside of Alessis' robe, changing at last to words. In the village of Thome, it is written, the eremite Allegazer descended deep into the darkness, for he could not bear to see his shadow. What do your questions mean? What do you want? Yes. The single flat word lingers in the air until Alessis adds, what is the answer? That's the thing, I want you to answer your own questions. You want to understand why I've done... You want to know everything. If Alessis accepts your answer silently, giving no clue as to what passes within its impervious robes, behind its impenetrable mask, at last the thing replies, all is as one, but one is not as the rest. Any more questions? No. Bye. As you step away, the Philethus swivels to keep its glass face trained upon you. Exquisite.
Yes, now.
Sorry. Let's chat with the Genocide. This burly, armor-clad figure stands almost motionless as you approach. He regards you silently through his singular eye. The studs on his arms and the blades on his shoulders are stained and pitted with age. When he speaks, his voice is muffled and artificial. A hollow grumble emanates from the entirety of the helmet. I am the Genocide. If you ask, I must answer. Pass on then and exchange no words. His surface thoughts are like a crystal pool, alternately transparent or else perfectly reflecting his words. His mind reveals nothing hidden except for a low-level hatred of everything around him. This letter is more a feeling than you get than an actual thought you hear. You said you had to answer questions if I asked. Why? From within the helmet you hear a grinding noise, the sound of teeth gnashing, amplified, and the voice again, bleak. We sat at the river's edge, and we wept for the time that was. We saw nothing more to conquer, and yet our fears still drove us. We had conquered the land, purged its impurities, made it ours. Still, we wanted more. When we heard humans had come to carve a home, we rejoiced to have a new foe, a new test of our strength. We rode against them. We rode them to the forge of the night sky, to the valley of Mirajola, to the dangers of the Black Riage. But those who built atop these ruins, they thwarted us, time and again. And so we brought our constructs and our deadliest warriors to bay outside the city. We laid a mighty siege. We entered the human settlement. We fought past barricades and traps. Some of our constructs are still here, silent and dead. But when we thought we had achieved our greatest victory, a powerful Nero saved them. With his magics he called upon the strength of the ancients and captured us. I thought my life was at an end, but he imprisoned me in slow time, trapped me in my body, used machines to paralyze my will. I still remember our glories. I see our faded future in front of me, and I am powerless to act. The memories of our triumphs remain always at the forefront of my mind, and I must answer the mocking questions of these people, or suffer. You seem very calm for someone who's been in prison for centuries. I have been defeated. I have nothing to fight for. My captor castrated me with a tool they made to dampen my natural urges. I can remember the actions. I can recall the glory. But I feel shame, regret. I am weakened, but not by my volition. What does it matter? Those who stood against me are all dead. I am victorious. I no longer fight with the blade. My weapon is time. He leans in closer. I do not die. I cannot be wounded. I am held like a beetle in sap. Why would I not be serene? He settles back. The underspine spoke of my destiny. I was to wage war onto the edge of the universe, but the universe keeps going, and so, it seems, must I. Someday I will be free. Someday. Until then, I am incorruptible. How did they stop you from trying to escape? The Nano who raised the city's shields created a device. He called it the Mind Seer. With it, he violated my mind, my memories, and everything that was at the core of my being. In a fit of vengeance, he tore truths from me. He made me betray my people. He rewrote my mind and gave me perfect clarity into the past, and gelded my ability to shape the future. The Tabat never sought revenge against foes who were mightier than we. We devised stratagems to defeat them. We tested ourselves. We did not punish or hate. Punishment was purification. This, though, is torture. The worst of the cities of refuse can mock me now. They can ridicule and jape, and I am powerless to strike them for their impudence. Even now, and now they do not even do that. I have become a fixture, an irrelevance, a non-entity. I am a slave to, you hear his teeth grinding as he thinks of the perfect insult, to peacemakers. I must endure their presence and feel their corruption sink into me daily. Some foreign part of me desires it. He thumps his fist into his hand. But I remember that I will triumph over them. Eventually they will die, and I will not. What are you? I am a blade that cannot cut, a weapon that cannot strike, a living monument to failure. He shifts his weight. You hear the frown in his voice. I was Ugesti Telkotu, the firm hand of tradition. They called me one of the Black Three. Enemies did not understand us. They took my name to mean death in a dozen extinct tongues. They called me Orphan Maker, Hope Smasher, Death's Child. My armies blackened the skies and the earth. My Dracula scoured the land. Dominion was my duty. If they had known, if they had welcomed us, they might have been our thralls. Instead, they became dust. He gestures. All this, it was to have been mine in stewardship for the future of my people. It was promised. But now, his arm falls back to his side. Now I am the Genocide, a relic, the last of my kind. You mentioned the Tabat. Who or what were they? My people. His voice is full on. Great warrior. We owned this land. We served the Underspine, and it served us. We sought truth in victory. We ascended to epiphany. We were pure, incorruptible, indivisible, and even in disunity. We found strength in one another, and we proved it with bloody blades. But we fell, and the Underspine fell, and so, too late, we learned a new truth. But I carry the old ways as a seed within my heart. Tell me about... Why did the Tabat fight so much, actually? For honor, for truth, for the one way, because it was our duty. We were born to the blade, so it was written. So we chose. Free will is a curse unless given to a greater purpose. Our purpose was given to us by the Underspine, given to the Underspine by our ancestors, who found it and crystallized our essence forever. What's the Underspine? Our slave, our god, our prize. It kept us holy, it kept us pure, unchanging, anchored to a fixed point. The world turned around us, but we remained constant. When the world brought inconstancy, we fed it blood. The Underspine was our soul, our confessor. It knew clean, hard rapture. We knew our path. It gave us the words of ancient Tabat, and our path was rigid and unbending, absolute. If your path was unbending, it's no wonder you broke. I do not bend now. I have been driven down, but I do not bend. I live, and those who stood against me are dead. He turns away slightly. You have more questions, or do you release me? What was the Underspine? You would not understand. It was a machine. It was stone. It was a cavern. It was a city. It was the direct voice of our ancestors. It spoke in our heads, in our ears, and in our hearts. We heard its voice in our creches, in our daily instructions. Our God was true and strong and singular, not the fickle, inconstant things of the modern day. What's the benefit of an absolute path? We had no doubts about our duty, about our goals, only the particulars. We erased doubts in the purity of utter certainty. Questions raised are questions answered, or they are heresy. No need for self-agony. The necessity of introspection was transmuted into the optimization of our paths, into fashioning ourselves into the pinnacle of our achievement. Clear definition in life creates truth, not this pitiful shadow. What happened to the Underspine? Sabotage. or failure. One of those under my command told me it had whispered defeat into his ears, as if it had sickened, lost sight of the true path. Given the question, the undersigned denied this. My soldier was cast out, and I suffered the barb for his doubt. It was later, years later, the underspine broke. After our failure, I've never been sure if the seeds for our defeat were planted in those days. The nano who captured me, who nailed me to time, he used the Mind Seer to ferret out the underspine's location. I do not know if he ever found it in the world. He raped a genocide from me and mocked me with his sobriquet. I was not to blame. I will stand before the underspine and swear my innocence. Let me ask about something else, because, I'm gonna just keep asking you questions. You said you were the last of your kind. Why? I know of no others. Kalagat Anvor, he who shares truth and understanding, is dead. Vostelelo, the blinding light of reason, was destroyed. The underspine has fallen. My people are destroyed utterly, and our servant god speaks to us no longer. The clean lines of order and the glory of battle have forsaken us. The rest are dust. We rose against a superior foe, and we were outmatched. Only I remained to tell the story of the Tabat. Can you tell me about the nano who trapped you here? How did he stop you? The Genocide raises his hands in defeat. He found old knowledge and made it his own. He created defenses we could not penetrate. Most tellingly, most effective, the shield generators. He created 3 barriers around the heart of the city, and the last unmoored the city in time. When our constructs touched it, they flashed to stasis. We could not reach the city, but the city could reach us. You feel the ticklings of memory as the Genocide speaks of shields. Continues to talk, oblivious. Let the memory come. The memory from the orb in the labyrinth comes upon you again, stronger than before, but now you remember it as it happened, not as you wished it had. You fought against the woman with the invisible blade, and you crept past the guards at the base of the stair, and descended into the basement of your tower. You activated generators and descended to the command platforms on the heights. The nearby panels buzz and crackle with unseen energies. The shields, you mutter. We need the shields now. You press several buttons, a generator coughs into life, and the lights flicker for a moment. A faint veil of energy encircles the city, and then there's a strange, terrible stillness, as if the world held its breath. The rest of the memory is bloodshed. The humans of Sega's cliffs made the stranded Tabat pay. Then the memory pays. You now know the nano who saved the city became the changing god. You know it was he who defeated the Tabat. You remember the hatred. You do not remember the girl who was with you. What was her name? The Genocide watches you silently. The nano who... can you tell me about that one again? I'm not required to speak of him again to you. The compulsion has been satisfied. The nano who defeated you is the changing god. He and his children still live. His voice is flat and dead. Others have claimed this. I do not know if they say this to torment me. But if our enemy was a god, even if he was once a man, then to stand against him is to spit in the face of the divine. The Tabat were a holy people. Humans do not believe it, but our rites were as sacred to us as they were profane to your kind. We accepted the will of the ineffable. Any who still live may yet find the mantle of godhood. To be divine is to be beyond the rules of mortal ethics. Those who would be gods must cast aside these concerns. They are to turn against the old teaching. You mentioned the shield generators. Can you tell me about them? I told you their effect. They unmoored the city in time, severed our supply lines, left us vulnerable, and defeated us. The underspine's strategy failed us. I began to doubt. He shifts slightly. The generators are unused, abandoned, their purpose forgotten, though the people of the city still swear by our name, and our terrors are fresh in their nightmares. Despite the passage of centuries, they have forgotten the means of their salvation. This one, beside me, no longer functions. One of the others is buried in the ground, not far from here, and has not yet failed. It powers the clock around which these ridiculous fools prance. Well, that will be a good clue for the quest. Well, it's a very difficult quest, ultimately. Yeah, no, all of these are again. Yeah. They just, one thing I kind of like is when you do the again, you do actually get different text. You mentioned the names of some of the Tabat. Can you tell me about them? Kalagat Unvor, the strongest mind of the Black Three, none could stand before him when he bent his mind to their unraveling. Intricate, careful, overwhelming. Vostele Lo, a methodical planner, collector of curiosities, the toolsmith and construct waker. It was he who brought the ancient machines to life. And I, the knife, the strategist, the blade in their hands, we were unstoppable. Until Sagas Cliffs, and then, until the corruption of defeat. Okay, cool. I think that is everything. No, I wish you no good tidings. But that was fun. I really like that interaction set. A jumble of boulders and debris lies at the foot of the surrounding cliffside. The broken remains of ancient devices lie among the fallen stone, while off to one side a metallic canister sticks out of the top of the pile. It appears mostly intact. Examine the canister. Leaning over, you notice the container is hollow with an opening in the top providing full access to the interior. A quick glance reveals it's empty. While most of the canister is relatively intact, a small part of its exterior wall has been pried open, exposing delicate mechanisms. Let's scavenge what we can from there. Think Callistage? No, it's us with the appropriate things. I'm not too concerned about this, so I'm just going to use... you know what, no. We'll use all our effort. Although I could just get No, this gives a 75% chance. Using the pried open panel as a starting point, you delicately disassemble the exterior of the canister and manage to retrieve a fair number of intact components. So we got ourselves some money. Let's have a look at the rocks. You notice a slight gleam as the light hits some of the rocks, just the right angle. You lean closer. Tiny mechanical devices are embedded in the rock. A quick search of the rest of the pile reveals that only a small percentage of the rocks are more than they appear. Oh, that would have been sensible. Try putting the rocks in the canister. You scoop them up, but nothing happens. Smash the rocks to extract what we can. Hey, Callistage. Let's use up the rest of your might. Hey, we succeeded. We got 65 shims. And that's it. Okay, cool.
Alright.
Alrighty, do we want to talk to the arms merchant? Why not? The sign over this stall says, The Arming Room, buy, sell, trade. Under the awning, a skinny man with stooped shoulders and a concave chest is cleaning a filth-caked weapon of some kind. He salutes you with a greasy hand. Done in a moment. Have a look around. If you need anything, let me know. What can you tell me about Sagas Cliffs? Good place for the arms trade. Not much call for weapons in the city proper, it's true. The levies keep things quiet. We get most of my business from mercenary companies. The endless battle draws them by the dozens. Explorers too. Plenty of carcass save up their shins and kit themselves out all fancy like, then they wander down the reef or into the bloom, never come back. Show me what you... let's see what he says on the repeat. Like I said, good place for me trade, plenty of mercs, last chance they'll have to kit themselves out, so most of them stop here. What you got for sale? Okay, so I'm going to sell some of this stuff, because I don't need it, or really want it. I'm going to keep the healing items. I'm actually going to keep this. So buy some of this stuff. I mean, I'm going to sell one thing. But hey, whatever. That is not... Oh, right. That's comparing it to this. That's cool. And we could get a mace or that kind of thing, although it's a medium weapon and we're only good with light ones. So we can actually see that, like, a dagger is pretty good for many things. The rapier is actually as good as a infused crystalline shard, and a Verid is that's medium. So start moving into medium, and then so there's no better weapon. We could get ourselves a shield. It's pretty cheap, and if we do get into a scrap, it would be good just to have that defensive capability. So you know what, we'll do that. Really? It's two-handed? No? Okay, I don't understand why that did that. And can we just sell off no, cannot be unequipped, so we can't do anything about Callistage's stuff. That's cool. Alrighty. So who else do we want to talk to today? Because we don't have a huge amount of time left. Alright, let's talk to the seer. Nothing. Don't prophesize for free, pal.
Let's go.
Alrighty. Ceresi and Belinda. Eliento Belazar. Let's talk to Belazar. This thin, fidgeting Aeon priest shoots furtive sidelong glances at the creature in the nearby cage while humming over a nonchalant tune. When he sees that you're watching him, he flinches. Over the course of a few frantic breaths, shock becomes embarrassed anger. He opens his mouth to shout at you. There must be a way, but how? They never leave it alone. Yes, what is it? What's so goddamn fascinating about me that you need to stare? What do you know about that creature over there? What? Belazar says, jumping, and takes a breath and struggles his hand offhand. It's a Nycteramon, a biomechanical creature, an information gatherer, in fact. He seems to calm down as he warms to the topic. They're dangerous, though. You can only speak to them at night. During daylight, they'll attack without provocation. A living repository of knowledge, Elistige murmurs, watching the creature. I wonder what places it has seen, what it knows. Belazar's eyes narrow suspiciously. You're planning something, aren't you? Belazar weighs the intent of your words with narrowed eyes. Are you with the Order of Truth or just snooping? I'm a friend of the Order. Perhaps I could help whatever you're trying to do. Yeah, let's give it a go. I mean, she's actually in the Order. Like, why can't I have her say, hey, don't you recognize me? But whatever. Ah, whoop. Really? You can see the doubt on his face, but it quickly gives way to relief. I thought they'd have sent someone by now, but you'll have to suffice. I'm working on something dangerous and something important. Glances around the bazaar as if looking for spies, then beckons you to him. I have a device. Someone could get close enough to affix it to the creature's cage. It'll activate and teleport the Nycteramon to the reef of fallen worlds, and then... It's an insane plan, yet how can I make a name for myself? Greatness demands risks. You'll study it? In a manner of speaking. Biomechanical organisms fascinate me so. Nycteramons doubly so. Never gotten to examine one up so close, so I want you to teleport the creature out of its cage, kill it, and bring me the memory organ. You want me to kill it for its brain? Isn't that murder? Please, Belazar says, rolling his eyes so hard you're surprised you can't hear them squeak. It's a machine. It's not alive. Makes you feel better. You can tell yourself you're deactivating a faulty device that will defend itself with lethal bullets. Sounds too easy. I just walk up, plant the device on the creature's cage, and activate it. If it were that easy, I'd do it. The creature's captors protect his cage, and well, they've already caught me once, but they won't be watching for you. He rubs the back of his hand across his mouth. Tell them you wish to see the beast, and plant the device when they're not watching. And if you get caught, don't tell them I sent you. They said they'd lodge a complaint with the Order. There's also the part about killing it, but she doesn't need to think about that yet. How does the teleportation device work? I'm not sure. My former colleague found it within the rusting casing of a war machine. I say former, because when he activated it, he disappeared. Found that his remains are spread across the reef, as if he was hurled across the ground at the great force. Hurt the ground with great force. Now, you might be thinking the Nycteramon will perish in the same manner, and it might, but I wouldn't count on it. The creature can float. Poor Kareth. Most of those test subjects didn't fare so well either. Test subjects. I see. Alright. Give me the device, I'll see what I can do.
Remember that.
Here it is, he says, handing it over and nervously licking his lips. Be very, very careful. I don't have another one. Okay. Promises it'll teleport the Nycteramon to a place of his choosing, but will not work for anyone else. Okay, don't drop it. Well, I guess next time around we might investigate that one further. Until then, bye. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and effort watching the videos I make. If you'd like to watch more, on the left there should be another video from this playlist. On the right there will be whatever YouTube recommends, and in the center there is a convenient subscribe button just in case you need it.